Why don't we get the least liked topic out of the way?
Let's get the boring shit out of the way. Let's talk about CRA first.
CRA, that's what I said. Let's get the stuff out of there. Get CRA.
Let's do it. I'm going to share my screen. We're doing this new thing. We're going to share my screen here. Hold up. All right. So here's an article in Yahoo Finance talking about the CRA already challenging real estate transactions ahead of new anti-flipping rules. Personally, Patrick, I think this particular article is a bit of a clickbait myself. And we'll talk about why. But you're right. There's a theme to this, which is CRA doing what CRA does, which is trying to generate revenue for itself.
Well, there's a lot more of that coming. When you talk about flipping, we know that as investors, we're into the flipping world. You have to be very, very careful. Form corporation, make sure that you're actually disclosing exactly what you are doing, paying your GST, your HST, all the things that go with it. Now, this is a little bit different in that what they're looking at here is, the residential side of the equation. So if you're buying a property, flipping it within a year, you're actually having to pay the tax on it. Now, that may or may not be new. You and I discussed that a little bit, is that you're going, no, that's always the way it's been, but they're saying this is a new rule as of January 1, 2023. The real point here is that they went in before this apparent new law is even in place and went after a particular person who had a reason to flip her property, and she had to defend it in court. This goes back to even what I talked about the last. That's the button right there. Is the cost, the time, the energy that she had to put into defending it, and it wasn't even in place yet. It doesn't come into effect until January 1, 2023, but CRA went after her earlier, and that's just the kind of stuff that we're going to have to get used to because they're looking for tax dollars.
You love it when they do that, Patrick. You love it when they do that.
I don't mind tax dollars. I really, really don't. I just disagree with the squandering of our money. That's what I disagree with.
That's a good one. Now, I will say this, though, is like I said, I think this whole got to hold it for at least a year. That's been around forever, at least from my perspective. The laws that I knew about, I believe has been around forever. What I do find interesting, though, and I do want to talk about, Patrick, is this is where speculators get caught right here. Sophisticated investors know the rules. They know if they're going to flip, they should set up a corp and they should flip within the corp, and they know the tax laws around it. But if you start flipping in your own personal name, this is where you get caught. This is where, by the way, it's not about getting caught. You didn't do it right. You should have been more sophisticated as an investor, and you should have done it right. Now, listen, CRA overreaching. I got my own issues with CRA that I've been through for the last 20 years, Patrick. I mean, if there's nobody more that I dislike in this friggin' world than CRA. But I will say that there is a system, and that's one of the things that speculators don't educate themselves on is the system. And if you play within that system, you can actually do, quite well. There's ways around the various rules around. That's not a good way to put it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day is you make a really good point, is that somebody gets a great idea. Let's flip this property. They're talking with their brother-in-law or their best buddy or somebody at work, and they go, oh, let's start flipping properties without any real understanding and education behind it. That's where it gets caught. For the RAIN community, we talk about it time and time again. I mean, how many times is our, George Dubey or Peter Catini with BDO, who's been trusted partners forever in the accounting world for us, has shone a light on these particular issues when it comes to CRA and being on the right side of it. Now, that's really and I think where we go with this often is we see these kind of articles. And for me, this many years into this is the frustrating part of it is the bad reputation it gives to legitimate business owners who are in the business of flipping properties or assigning properties. It's what they do. They do it right. They stay on the right side of the tax laws. And it's the speculators that come in, they get bit, then it shows up as a headline. These are the kinds of things that kind of annoy me.
There's one other thing that drives me a little crazy about these kinds of, like I said, I think this one is mostly clickbait, this particular article, which is, by the way, what a lot of articles are. But someone's going to read this, Patrick, a legitimate investor is going to read this and is going to get spooked on real estate investing because of this stupid headline. And that kind of thing drives me crazy because, there's people trying to get ahead financially, trying to create a financial future for themselves and their family. And reading articles like this scares them. And as a result, they don't take the steps they need and that they want to take towards their financial future because of stuff like this. That's what kind of drives me crazy. But the good news is that there's great organizations like RAIN, insert plug for RAIN, the Real Estate Investment Network, that are there to help people overcome this kind of stuff. So there's help out there as well. But yeah, this kind of stuff, clickbait, stay away. CRA, we're done talking about this. Boom, it's over.
Boom. Boom.
No more.